Hi LEGO fans! After reviewing the new 2020 sets, I'm in the mood for some classic LEGO Harry Potter, and this one is a corker. Start turning those time turners because we're travelling back to 2004 and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Today, I'm going to be rebuilding and reviewing set number 4757, Hogwarts Castle from LEGO Harry Potter. We'll be taking a detailed look inside the castle and pointing out some secrets. We'll also be getting up close and personal with the minifigures, and there's a really cool and unusual clockwork element I can't wait to show you. Hogwarts Castle is a popular theme for LEGO Harry Potter, and we've had no less than 5 sets with the same name. It all starts in 2001 with the 4709 Hogwarts Castle themed on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That's followed up in 2004 with this little beauty. LEGO rebooted Hogwarts again in 2007 with a set based on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. 3 years later, in 2010, we got the generically themed 4842 Hogwarts Castle. Finally, in 2018, we got the magnificent 6,020-piece $400 Behemoth, that is the micro-scale 71043 Hogwarts Castle. This set was released in 2004 and themed on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the one where Hermione punches Malfoy and then embarks on a time-travelling adventure that escalates to endless debate about whether the cursed child is canon. I'm definitely sitting on the fence on that one. This set retailed for $90 US or 80 Great British pounds and was quite a good investment. If you have one of these mint in box today, it's valued at about $840. In used condition like this, it's worth more like $190 thanks in part to the minifigures. I got mine off eBay and it sent me back just over $160 plus shipping. The 944-piece part count includes 9 minifigures, with most being unique to this set, hence the high resale value. We've got a generic skeleton with the earlier evil school design, 2 dastardly Dementors which showed up in about 4 different sets, Divination teacher and incessant prophesizer of doom Sybill Trelawney, she's worth a small fortune, Draco Malfoy dressed for Quidditch even though nobody else is playing, Hermione Granger in her Gryffindor house uniform complete with time turner, a typically goofy looking Ron Weasley, Harry James Potter also dressed in Gryffindor uniform, and a very interesting Albus Dumbledore who's hiding a secret underneath that beard. We'll take a close-up look at each one of the minifigures and uncover their secrets later in the video. As with any LEGO set I buy on eBay, I always like to give it a teardown and rebuild. Winding the time turner back a few days, the Hogwarts Castle looked like this. It's all freshly washed, rinsed and dried, so now it's time to build. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the 4757 Hogwarts Castle, and today this is going to be a 2-minute speed build. And here is the completed 2nd edition 4757 Hogwarts Castle from LEGO Harry Potter. Build time today was 2 hours and a little harder going than usual because of the lack of numbered bags. We're going to start out by taking a look around the magnificent Hogwarts Castle, checking out all of the cool interiors, and then we'll take a look at these minifigures and reveal their dark secret. We'll also be revealing one of the most expensive LEGO Harry Potter minifigures you can get. The 4757 Hogwarts Castle is constructed of 3 different builds. We have the Hogwarts Gates, which are being guarded by the Dementors of Azkaban. They are of course looking out for notorious mass murderer Sirius Black. We also have this very elegant Hogwarts Clock Tower. This helps to set a narrative in the movie for the importance of time. It's an impressive looking build and stands just over 13 inches high. Standing taller still, we have the Gryffindor Tower. This reaches a dizzying height of 15.5 inches. It makes quite an impressive addition to any Harry Potter collection. The gates are what they are and don't really resemble the main entrance gates to Hogwarts. Those would be rectangular in shape and watched over by winged hogs or boars. These are very elegant arched gates, but they are standard LEGO elements. You can see the same gates being used on one of these seasonal Halloween sets. Sitting over the top we have an elegant stone arch, and there's some more decoration and a ghoulish Dementor on either side of the gates. The inside of the gates look pretty much the same, except we have the addition of some red lanterns. It's a funny colour choice, I've got to admit. These first generation Dementors are really interesting figures. We'll be taking a look at those and comparing them to other Dementor minifigures later in the video. Next we come to the impressive Clock Tower. This is actually built in 3 separate sections and is snapped together halfway up. I actually thought for a moment that was going to fall over. On the ground floor we have this impressive set of doors. This design was originally created for LEGO Belleville and only appears in 2 sets in this reddish brown colour. The doors are also equipped with handles which are going to come in useful right now. Behind said doors lies an impressive portcullis. Not only that, if we flick this switch by the clock, the portcullis is raised, albeit a little wonky. Flick the other switch, the portcullis is dropped and the pendulum goes crazy. The lever you see on the left is used to either engage or disengage the portcullis. The one on the right is used to engage the clockwork mechanism. Proving that wizards don't understand the concept of clocks, the clock face just spins round and round and round. The same clockwork mechanism powers all 3 actions. We've got the turning of the clock, the raising of the portcullis, and even the swaying pendulum action. The pendulum itself is about 6 inches long and pivots from a point just beneath the clock. But what makes this thing tick? It's good old-fashioned clockwork. Give this thing a few twists, hit the release switch, and the mechanism limps into action. The dark grey box in the centre contains a coiled spring which you can tighten by turning the gears. When you hit the go switch, the stored energy is released via the small gear which drives the larger gear above it. This in turn drives wheels up in the clock tower which power all of the actions. Those actions include a pulley which lifts the portcullis. It's a practical but innovative mechanism and I like this a whole lot better than fancy light bricks or app-controlled Marios. Other features of the clock tower include stained glass, a bunch of these fancy arched windows, this rather nice decorative canopy, and then down on the ground floor we have these hinged cobwebs for some reason. Maybe this is meant to represent the dungeons. What I do really like is the trans neon yellow spider. The clock face is a really nice custom printed element and is exclusive to this set. As such, replacing one of these is going to cost you at least $6. Also exclusive is a decorated dish just above it. You can't get it anywhere else and a used one of these is going to set you back $3. The roof of the tower is dark grey and steeply pitched, exactly what we expect to see at Hogwarts. We also expect to see turrets and we're not disappointed. The only thing that doesn't seem to marry up with the movie is this tower on the side here. The clock tower you see in the Prisoner of Azkaban is actually quite symmetrical. The LEGO version not so much, but it's possible that bit on the side might help with the interior features. Speaking of the interior, it's time we had a poke around inside. The lowest level seems to have an infestation of spiders, so I'm going to assume this is the dungeon. This would seem to confirm the theory. Either this is Snape's store cupboard or it is the potions classroom. Activating the moving staircase reveals a secret. Hidden behind the ingredients for making potions we have this key. Also hiding away in the dank dark dungeon is this amphibious friend. On the other side we have another moving staircase which reveals a room behind it. Here we have a rather unusual armchair which I definitely don't recognise from the movies. There's also another gold plated key and a red spider hiding away in the rafters. By folding out both staircases to 45 degrees, we can create a way to ascend to the next level. Up here we have a further 2 rooms. On the far left hand side there is a balcony where we can find a familiar but not very friendly face. The room is pretty bare except for a scroll, a pair of trans-orange flames, and a particularly wonky looking floor. There's also a suspicious looking trans-neon yellow spider lurking underneath. The scroll is a printed 2x2 tile that appears in about 5 of the early LEGO Harry Potter sets. It depicts some kind of recipe for potion making and some runic symbols. Malfoy seems to be just a little bit too interested in the recipe. Thankfully we have the trans-neon yellow spider to save the day. What Malfoy doesn't know is that the spider can trigger a trapdoor. I think the services of Madame Pomfrey may be required. On the other side of the castle there's a classroom complete with blackboard. Let's make this a little bit easier to see. As classrooms go, it's a pretty sparsely decorated place. There's a desk and a couple of stools, but these don't really give us any clues to what is being taught here. There's also an unusual decorated plume element which was used in LEGO Wild West sets. I was hoping there may be some words of wisdom on the blackboard, but sadly these words don't seem to make sense. This is a really nice printed element and only appeared in 2 sets. The blackboard also hides a secret. Yes, it's the hiding place for our creepy skeleton. We'll take a closer look at him later in the video. Finally, for this part of the castle we have a 3rd floor which houses the Divination classroom. Sadly there aren't many Divination artifacts to take a look at here. We do have a crystal ball with one of those creepy skeleton heads which I'm sure is not prophesying anything good. There are also a couple of coffee mugs which I'm sure are used for reading tea leaves. As you'll recall, in the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry sees the Grim predicting his own death. The only other artifacts in this room are what could be a couple of tea caddies and some fire, because you can never have enough fire. On the other side we have a chest which hopefully contains something cool. I'm pleased to say that the chest does not disappoint. Inside we have a trans-purple magnifying glass that was only used in the Belleville, Scala and Harry Potter themes. Finally, at the very top of the clock tower we have the Owlery. Let's see if we can shed some more light on this. The pure white snowy owl is very likely to be Harry's owl Hedwig. The other one I've no idea, so we'll call him Oscar. After the impressive exterior, I've got to confess I'm a little underwhelmed with the interior of this build. Maybe we'll find something better in the Gryffindor Tower. Gryffindor Tower stands a little over 15 inches high and is topped off with a flag that is the wrong colour. On the lower levels you find a couple of clues which tell us this is the Gryffindor Tower. Firstly, we have this rather well loved Gryffindor shield which I really must replace. Secondly, we have some criminally bad stickering which shows the slashed portrait of the fat lady. I believe it was slashed by Sirius Black, who was enraged that she wouldn't allow him entry to Gryffindor Tower. Also on the tower we have 2 of these red lanterns and a really nice lion's head piece. It's a beautifully sculpted element and was used mainly in LEGO sets themed around castles. Further up on the tower we have a couple of sand green turrets and a dark grey roof canopy over one of those arched windows. Finally, Gryffindor Tower is topped off with a large sand green cone element and the flag that should be gold but isn't. Turning our attention to the interior, it's actually laid out over 4 floors. On the first floor we have what seems to be a teacher's office. I guess this could belong to head of Gryffindor House Minerva McGonagall, although she does not appear in this set. Inside we have an unusual looking desk which seems to be made of barrels. Sitting on top of the desk we have a printed letter and an inkwell containing some quills. For some reason which isn't entirely apparent, the desk swings forward to reveal a hiding place. I was hoping to find something cool hidden inside, but my hopes were well and truly dashed. Thankfully we have this little beauty hiding away behind the fat lady's portrait. This is of course the vicious volume of non-fiction that is the Monster Book of Monsters, and it's absolutely beautiful. Look at those printed eyes, what I guess is the nostrils, and then these teeth. On the back here you can see loads of tufts of hair, we've got the hair around the edges and then more of those teeth. Now the question is, how do we get into this thing without losing our fingers? And there is a very good technique for this. Simply stroke the spine and then it lets you inside. One thing I really don't understand is why the Monster Book of Monsters is hidden away on the reverse of the fat lady's portrait. While we are on the subject of the fat lady, I do have a piece of trivia for you. After being viciously attacked, who takes over from the fat lady guarding the entrance? Answers in the comments, please! Up on the next level, believe it or not, we have one of the Gryffindor dormitories. It all becomes a lot clearer when we fold out these wings. There aren't any curtains for Dumbledore to set fire to, but we do have a comfortable bed on each side. In the centre of the room we have some potions bottles, because why not? And then at the foot of the second bed we have a book hidden away. Sadly, unlike the Monster Book of Monsters, this one is plain and there is nothing inside. Moving up to the third level, it really looks like LEGO ran out of ideas. There's nothing in this room other than a pair of giant flames. I'm guessing this should be the Gryffindor common room, but when it comes to points for effort, I'm going to award the designers T for Troll. Finally, at the very top of Gryffindor Tower, we have some attic space. Nothing up here except for a generic LEGO rat. The designers clearly spent a lot of time and effort on the exterior of this build, and it does look good. The real letdown for me are all of the interior features. Apart from some nuggets like the Monster Book of Monsters and the trans-purple magnifying glass, I really think this was an opportunity lost. It looks like the designers just spent way too much time working on that clock mechanism. That being said, it is very impressive. Will the minifigures be so impressive? Let's find out! The 4757 Hogwarts Castle comes with an interesting collection of 9 minifigures. We've got 2 Dementors, a skeleton with an evil face, Draco Malfoy, Albus Dumbledore, Sybill Trelawney, Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ronald Weasley. These minifigures are from the first wave of LEGO Harry Potter sets to have flesh-coloured skin. For the most part, when it comes to the facial prints, LEGO just recycled the ones they were using before on yellow plastic. We'll take a look at those comparisons as we move through the figures. First up, we have a pair of the HP046 Dementors, each of which is worth between $10 and $16. This design appeared in 4 sets in 2004. The bases don't come with the minifigure, I'm just using these to help with filming. Just like the real thing, if you strip away the cape, the Dementor is just a skeleton underneath. As Dementors don't technically have legs, we just have this single post which holds the whole thing up. The body snaps into the hips, which have a tendency to break over time. We then have the skeleton body and these arms which are attached quite loosely and flap around. The facial print is pretty simple and shows the mouth ready to administer a kiss. This is not nearly as friendly as it sounds and is used to suck away the soul of their victims. The cape is a really nice design and just hangs over the body. It's also made of a really soft fabric. Matching the colour of the cape and making it look even more sinister, we have the Dementor's hood. It's a nicely sculpted piece, also used for Death Eaters, and makes the Dementor look super sinister. While this may be the first Dementor minifigure, it's not the only one. LEGO has actually made 3 of these gliding wrath-like dark creatures. The second iteration, the HP101 Dementor, came out in 2010. These are worth between $7 and $12 and appeared in the 4842 Hogwarts Castle and 4867 Hogwarts sets. The 2010 version used mostly the same parts but was in dark grey instead of sand green. The most notable differences are the facial print and the use of more rigid posable arms. LEGO also changed out the cape for the 2010 version, making it much more willowy and wispy. Fast forward to 2018 and the Dementor got a complete redesign. The cape was replaced by a different design made of a much more cheap, papery material. The legs, however, did get quite an upgrade and are much more robust in the new version. We also have a minifigure torso instead of a skeleton torso, but the one thing that hasn't changed over the years is the hood. Over the space of 14 years, the same hood element is still being used. Moving swiftly along, we have the evil-faced skeleton who is hiding behind the blackboard. Unlike the Dementors, this guy actually has 2 legs. The skeleton body and arms are in a different colour, but these are the same elements we got with the Dementors. The most interesting part about the skeleton is the facial expression, which was used quite extensively in the adventurous theme. Nowadays, LEGO tends to use a more friendly face for their deceased minifigures. Moving on to some more familiar characters, we have a HP053 Draco Malfoy dressed in the green Quidditch uniform. He's exclusive to this set and is worth about $7. Starting at the bottom, we have a pair of standard green minifigure legs. The torso print is much more exciting and picks out some of the details in metallic silver. In particular, the Quidditch robes pick out the Slytherin house crest. Complementing the Quidditch uniform, we have a green cape which is starting to show its age. Being a 2004 minifigure, we do of course have the flesh-coloured face, but this is not a new print. In fact, the facial expression and the hair are both lifted from an earlier version of Malfoy. The only thing I don't really get about this minifigure is why Malfoy is dressed for Quidditch and nobody else is. Next we have Professor Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, Order of Merlin First Class. The HP060 Dumbledore is an exclusive to this set and sells for about $18. Dumbledore is also remarkably similar to the earlier yellow-faced version. Removing the beard from both minifigures reveals that LEGO really took some shortcuts here. Now, it is of course possible that Dumbledore was wearing something yellow underneath his robes. It's also possible that this was meant to be exposed yellow flesh. If that's the case, then LEGO really did mess up here. Getting back on track, there is some nice printing on this minifigure. I love the continuity from the torso down onto the legs. The design shows the gold embellishment on the robes and some kind of small purse hanging from Dumbledore's belt. Although LEGO didn't print the back of these early minifigures, we do have this rather nice cape. We also have this luxurious beard and mustache, and I like the way that it joins up with the hair. Dumbledore's facial expression is recycled, but it does look good printed on a flesh-coloured minifigure head. It's kind of weird seeing a design which was originally used for a yellow-faced minifigure, but this is a nice minifigure and a great addition to the set. Making this set particularly desirable is the HP049 Professor Sybill Trelawney minifigure. She's also exclusive to this set and sells for about $48. One of the more unusual features about Trelawney is this purple hat. I've watched all the movies and I've never seen her wearing a hat. The facial print, however, does manage to capture those large spectacles. These are captured a little more accurately on the minifigure that came with the Wizarding World Minifigures Series 1. The printing on this minifigure is particularly nice and shows a wispy set of blue robes. These are accessorized with a purple scarf and a pendant. We also have a very bohemian style belt around the waist. Again, on these earlier minifigures there was no printing around the back, but you can see that we have one of those skirt pieces. Divination Professor Trelawney was actually a half-blood and the great-great-granddaughter of celebrated seer Cassandra Trelawney. Her one shining moment was making the prophecy concerning Lord Voldemort and his relationship with Harry. It wouldn't be a LEGO Harry Potter set without a plastic recreation of the boy what lived. Unfortunately for Harry, he's made up of very common parts and is only worth about $5. Curiously, LEGO decided to give him a black wand, which is unusual because he usually gets a brown wand. The legs are very standard dark grey minifigure legs, and then we have a torso print showing white shirt, Gryffindor tie, and Gryffindor school jumper. It's exactly the same print you'll see Ron wearing in just a moment. Following a familiar theme, you'll notice the face and the hair have been recycled from an earlier version of Harry. We've got the trademark round spectacles, lightning-shaped scar, and Beatles-esque haircut. As much as I'd like to get excited by this minifigure, it is probably the least desirable one from the set. This is the HP055 Ron Weasley. He's also exclusive to this set and is worth about $9. The legs and the torso are exactly the same as Harry's and come with some nice metallic printing. Needless to say, the trademark red hair and goofy expression are copied from the earlier yellow-faced minifigure. Ron comes equipped with a light grey wand which seems consistent with other LEGO sets. Entirely not consistent is Hermione Granger, who comes with a dark grey wand. This is actually quite an unusual colour and these are difficult to find. Replacing one of these on Bricklink is going to set you back about $4. This is the HP054 Hermione Granger minifigure, which is unique to this set and worth about $12. You'll notice Hermione's torso is different, and that's because she's wearing a time turner. It's a magical device which allows you to travel through time and, in the case of Hermione, take more classes than time allows. Without wanting to sound like a broken record, needless to say the face and the hair were used on an earlier Hermione minifigure. While this is definitely an interesting facial expression, I don't think it looks anything like Hermione. I don't recall Hermione wearing thick mascara and red lipstick. Whilst this might not be the most cohesive collection of LEGO minifigures ever included in a Harry Potter set, there are some nice characters to support the Prisoner of Azkaban storyline. Sybill Trelawney, for example, has quite a big role in the movie. I've been after this version of the minifigure for ages and it's great to finally get one. I also like the inclusion of the time turner on the Hermione Granger print. Most of all with this set, I find it fascinating that LEGO recycled all of the haircuts and facial prints rather than create new ones. So that was set number 4757, Hogwarts Castle from the 2004 wave of LEGO Harry Potter. After reviewing all of the new sets, this truly was a blast from the past. It's a great looking set and actually does resemble the clock tower shown in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, probably more so than the 2019 version, which was a little on the skinny side. Incorporating the Clockwork motor lifted this set to a new level and I really appreciated the innovative mechanism. The interiors, on the other hand, were just so sparse and disappointing compared to other LEGO Harry Potter sets. The minifigures were good, but definitely not standouts compared to other sets. If it wasn't for the rarity of Sybill Trelawney, this set probably wouldn't be so highly prized, but I'm on a mission to own every LEGO Harry Potter set, and this was very high on my wishlist. If there's a classic LEGO Harry Potter set you'd like to see me review, do let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to prioritise the most popular choices. As always, I hope you enjoyed this LEGO Harry Potter restoration, speed build and review video as much as I did making it. If you did, a thumbs up is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more LEGO Harry Potter goodness. Thanks a million for checking out today's review, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next build video.